The ship could not hold any longer. The damage had gone too far. Flames tearing through what remained of the structure, while water forced its way inside from below. And slowly, almost unwillingly, HMS Jervis Bay began to lose its fight against the ocean, the once proud ship now trembling under the weight of destruction. Yet even in those final moments, there was no panic, only the harsh realization that this was the end. And somewhere through the smoke, a single order finally cut through the chaos. Abandoned ship. The word spread quickly, carried from one man to another as sailors began preparing to leave, some injured, some barely able to stand, but all moving with urgency as the deck tilted beneath their feet. Lifeboats already being lowered into the freezing Atlantic, ropes creaking, metal groaning, and the sound of fire still raging behind them as they made their way toward whatever chance of survival remained. And among them was able seaman Sam Patience, dazed, wounded, struggling to stay conscious as the world around him seemed to blur into noise and motion. The explosions had taken their toll on him, his body weak, his senses fading in and out, and as he looked around, he realized something terrifying. The lifeboats were already leaving, one after another disappearing into the darkness, filled with men who had managed to reach them in time. And suddenly, he was alone, standing on a ship that was moments away from sinking, with no clear path to safety, no easy way out, and the cold reality of the situation hit him harder than anything before. He could not swim. The ocean below was black, endless, freezing, and jumping into it felt less like escape and more like surrender. And yet staying on the ship meant certain death. And as the deck shifted again beneath him, tilting further as water rushed inside, he knew he had no choice. He had to get off. He had to try, even if it meant facing the terror of the unknown. Then he saw it. A life buoy. Small, simple, but it meant everything. With what little strength he had left, he forced himself forward, each step heavy, painful, as if his body was resisting the effort. And when he reached the buoy, he grabbed it, pulling desperately, but it would not come free.
I can't move it. It's stuck.
Stuck in place, as if even this last chance was slipping away, and panic began to rise, sharp and overwhelming, as he pulled again, harder this time, his hands shaking, his breathing broken, the ship beneath him groaning louder as it continued to sink. "Come on!" The words escaped his lips like a whisper, barely audible over the chaos, and with one final effort, he pulled with everything he had left, and this time the buoy came loose, suddenly and completely, nearly throwing him off balance. And without giving himself time to think, without allowing fear to take over again, he turned and jumped. The impact with the water was brutal, the cold hitting him like a shock that stole the air from his lungs, his body reacting instantly as he struggled to stay afloat, grabbing onto the buoy as waves pushed him up and down, the burning pain in his injuries mixing with the freezing ocean around him. And for a moment, he thought he might not make it, that this was where it would end, alone in the darkness, swallowed by the sea. But he kept fighting. He had to. Around him, the wreck of Jervis Bay continued its final descent, the once mighty ship now disappearing slowly beneath the surface, flames flickering one last time before being consumed by the ocean. And in that haunting moment, the white ensign could still be seen, raised high, even as everything else was lost, standing as a final symbol of defiance, of sacrifice, of a crew that refused to surrender. Then it was gone. Only darkness remained, and the cold, and the silence. Sam floated in that silence, his body shaking uncontrollably as the freezing water drained his strength with every passing second, his mind drifting between awareness and exhaustion. And he had no idea where to go, no direction, no clear hope, only the distant sounds of the ocean and the fading echoes of battle somewhere far away, because the battle was not over. In the distance, flashes of light still cut through the darkness as Admiral Scheer continued its hunt, its guns firing at other merchant ships that had not yet escaped, explosions lighting up the horizon briefly before fading back into black, a deadly game of pursuit playing out in the night. And yet even the powerful warship was beginning to feel the effects of time lost, the delay caused by Jervis Bay, forcing it to search blindly in the dark, wasting ammunition, losing its advantage. On board the German ship, Captain Cranky watched the situation unfold with growing frustration. The convoy no longer an easy target, but scattered and hidden, the darkness now working against him. And after a long moment of consideration, he made a decision, one that marked the end of the hunt for that night. Break off the attack. The words were simple, but they carried weight. And slowly, the great battleship turned away, disappearing into the vast emptiness of the ocean, leaving behind only silence and scattered survivors. Hours passed, cold, endless hours. Sam could feel his strength fading, his movements slower, weaker, his body struggling to hold on as the freezing water continued to drain what little energy he had left. And just when it seemed like there was nothing more he could do, when the darkness felt like it was closing in completely, he saw something, a shape, faint, moving, and then voices,
over here.
Real voices, men calling out across the water, searching, hoping, and with the last of his strength, Sam moved toward them, pushing through the waves, holding on to the buoy as if it was the only thing keeping him alive. And when he finally reached the lifeboat, hands reached out, pulling him up, dragging him out of the freezing ocean and into safety. And as he collapsed onto the floor of the boat, exhausted beyond words, he knew he had survived. But many had not. The men sat together in silence, shivering, exhausted, watching the empty ocean where their ship had once been. And in the distance, the battle had faded completely, leaving behind nothing but darkness and memory. And for a long time, no one spoke, because there were no words that could truly capture what had just happened. Then, as dawn slowly approached, something unexpected appeared on the horizon, lights cutting through the early morning gloom, a ship approaching, and at first there was fear, uncertainty, the question of whether this was friend or enemy. But as it came closer, the truth became clear. It was not German, it was neutral. The Swedish freighter Sturahome, and as it reached the survivors, its crew wasted no time, pulling the freezing men aboard, offering warmth, safety, and something they had almost lost completely: hope. Out of the entire crew of HMS Jervis Bay, only a small number survived. But their sacrifice had changed everything. Because of them, because of one ship that refused to run, almost the entire convoy escaped, and Britain survived another day. Captain Edward Fegen did not live to see the outcome of his decision, but his actions echoed far beyond that night, earning him the Victoria Cross, one of the highest honors for bravery, a recognition not just of courage, but of something far greater: sacrifice, duty, and the choice to stand when standing meant certain death. And even now, long after the war has ended, the story of HMS Jervis Bay remains, not as a tale of victory, but as a reminder that sometimes the greatest victories are not about winning battles, but about saving others.